Right, might as well show you these anyway. I did decide to order some more pulleys because those ceramic hybrid pulleys I've had on are looking pretty tired. So I've got a set of pulleys. They're worth having them in stock if I decide not to use them anyway. They are Ultegra XT pulleys. They work with either or, so they're not too bad. This is for a surprise for later. That's something that I also need for the surprise for later. I'm going to have an experiment, which we'll make a whole session on that one. That's not mine, that was from another bike. One of the discs has turned up. The most of the Shimano parts are coming from Germany now. There doesn't seem to be anybody in the UK that's got any stock, so I've got a nice brand new replacement. That's the front one, and they are also for the surprise. That was given to me, and I picked that one up for it was relatively cheap for a bit of an experiment. What am I waiting for still? So I'm waiting for the other one of them, the 160. I've got a chain in store for it. The axle, I'm missing the axle. So there's all the bits of the axle. I did actually manage to get a complete unit, so the whole piece, everything that's there, for £13, which I thought was pretty good. So hopefully all we've got to do is just swap it all out, and all will be good, and it'll go straight in the wheel. Nobody's bought them yet. They're for sale if you want them. This one, because this was the one we had the problem with, if you remember, sorting out the freewheel, but that's all tidied up and running nicely again now, and fortunately no damage to the ball races on the inside of there. And the same there. I do think you can get these ball races out because these hubs are convertible, or they are a dual purpose hub. So if you can knock that middle bit out, you can replace that cup. But anyway, saved wheels, hopefully, we'll see. I have mixed success with these recently, but bringing them back. When I don't know whether you got away with more when you were younger, but all the wheels were like this. And when I think of some of the abuse and the state some of these cups were in when we put them back together, and the bikes ran forever. But nowadays, if these aren't quite right, it feels like an absolute bag of spanners when you ride in them. I think maybe we've just got used to nice, smooth running wheels. Anyway, enough waffle, done. Welcome back to Lockdown Workshop. Still on the on one, poor old Tango. So, frame's been stripped, hasn't been cleaned. It's had the big chip sort of patched, repaired there. It's not brilliant, you can feel it. It does need polishing up, that needs T-cutting. The frame needs degreasing, cleaning. That went a lot better actually. There's a massive chip there where right down to the carbon underweave. That's patched up nicely with some resin frame filler, so that's all right. It's actually just a bit of cheap shit spray went on that satin. And then I've just used a high gloss clear coat on it to get the finish. You won't see that anyway, it's behind the crankshaft. And we normally have a lizard skin over the top of that. As you can see, the frame's pretty shitty, still needs all cleaning up, just needs checking around some of the bits. But the frame's going to live to fight another day. It is so light. I mean, it's amazing how they work these. I mean, I can feel that flexing as I squeeze it there. But it's absolutely fantastic frame. It's a real shame they don't make these frames anymore. I mean, they are susceptible, and you can see there's a little bit of a ding in it there. And, you know, a few dints and things on it. But as it goes, I checked the other day, I thought it was 10 years old. It's not, it's 8 years old. It's 8 years old this week, actually. Got delivered on the 4th of May, 2012. So, in fact, no, 2014 was after I had my first hip operation. So I know it's 8 years old because my oldest hip's 8 years old. and the other one's 3 years old. Right, so we'll clean the frame up. I've got a pile of bits in here that still need cleaning up. That's the saddle off the road bike that was originally on this bike. So that's going back on because I've bought another one for the ProLite UCI frame. And that's working really well. I managed to pick one up that was on offer. They are bloody expensive. That came free with that one when I first bought it. And I liked it so much that because they said they'd swap it when they got some more standard ones in stock, that I kept it, and I saw how much they were worth. But I did like it so much I went and bought another one that actually matched the colour of the bike better, and it's slightly longer nose, so it's better for distance rides. But obviously when we built the UCI frame up, white didn't look good. I put it on, it just looked shocking because we had some white carbon bars as well. Anyway, we're rambling a bit there. I think you've probably seen all these bikes anyway. So this is the turbo bike because the frame cracked. It's got some, well, it's not cracked, it's got some stress fractures down there, possibly some down on the front, and it was making some funny creaking noises. Bottom bracket needs sorting out on that. It's definitely gone, even though it's a brand new bottom bracket. So I need to go and have a look at what's going on with that. So that'll be another video another day, but it's definitely got an annoying tick. Swap the crankshafts over. So it's got the crank off that one that I know is good and put it on there, and I'm still getting the same annoying tick. The pedals are different. I've changed the pedals and it's still got the same annoying tick. So I think it's safe to say that it's got to be the bottom bracket. There isn't anything else. But it is running sweet, that bike. I've been riding it to the lake for the last 2 weeks every morning, and it is absolutely, it's an absolute dream to ride. It really is. It's a lovely bike. Nice to think the Fire Enzi over here was a nice bike. But anyway, there you go. Right, let's crack on with this. We're going to get that cleaned up. I'll probably speed through and speed up some of these bits where I'm doing all the cleaning. This needs servicing, possibly. It's got a bit of play in it. I have bought some new bushings for it, but I suspect they're the wrong size because I didn't realise you have to get them sized for what's already in. So you have to take it to pieces, see what's already in. I don't want to put it over here because this is all the clean stuff. This is all the stuff I've cleaned already. That's ready to go back on the bike. This is starting to look a bit worn. The metal they use on these is a bit shit, I'll be honest. This is the Dior group set, so it's lower than the LX, the SLX, the XT, so it's the lowest of the. It's the lowest of the decent ones. They do get lower. They get the Tournays and Altus and shit like that, and then the unbranded stuff. But it's yeah, the metal. It is getting on a bit, but they are very hard wearing. So the reason I've not changed any of this is because this Dior group set's about the strongest group set that they do. When you get up to the XT, they're a lot lighter, but they only last about 3 or 4 years, whereas this has done 8 years. As I said, it's been absolutely abused, and this is still fine. I've checked it all, and I've got no sharking or anything on any of the teeth. And this has had either 5 or 6 chains now. I can't remember exactly how many. The only thing that's failed on the whole group set was the jockey wheels that pretty much died straight away, but that was through me not looking after them. And I replaced them with these fun little eBay things, which have got sealed bearings in, which have done really well actually. To say they were fairly cheap, but the bearing's gone on that one now. It's graunchy a bit. And one thing I did notice is that because they've got holes in that make them they look all sexy and all light, but all that happens is they just get full of shit, and then that shit just gets clogged up. Whereas if you put the original ones on, which are, well, you can see on the picture, they don't have holes in. So all you need to do is just rub a cloth up along the side of them, and it just knocks all the muck off them straight away. New chain, new axle, because the cups have gone on the other one, but fortunately the seats on the wheel weren't damaged, but the cones had gone on there, so they're pretty nailed up exactly the same place on both sides. So that's the new axle. That I actually got the whole kit, about 13 quid. Which was less than I expected to pay for it. I thought I'd end up paying a tenner just for the cups alone, but that's got bearings and everything in it, new seals. The only thing it hasn't got is the seals that go actually in the hub itself, which I've got over there. But fortunately, I was very careful when I took them out, so they should be okay. New set of rotors, because I've worn the other ones down. Never ever come across that before. And as I said, these are okay. I think I replaced the outer. I did replace the outer one of these, either on this or one of the others, a few years ago. It had got slightly worn down, and I think I'd knocked a tooth off it as well. So it was kind of, well, I wasn't sure, and I was kind of, yeah, it's got a tooth off, I might as well just swap it. And I think I got them. They were on offer at the time, so I only paid about 15 quid for it, and they're normally about 30 quid. So it's quids in. The rubber seal's still on that one. We've not lost that, so that's good. These have cleaned up quite nicely. Actually, they were in a bit of a mess, if you remember. They were covered in that white grease. So I said, don't use white grease. Same with that. That's taken a bit of damage. That was last year when I came off on tarmac, believe it or not. Went for a 30-mile-an-hour slide and actually wore the front off the Garmin Edge GPS. I took about 1.5 centimetres off the front of the computer, so the circuit board and everything was showing. But managed to get a new case made of Chinesium for that. But this was the net result. I took the bottom end of the spring chamber off and the pivot arm as well. But it's sound. They're solid, these things. But these are quite good. These were the first generation where they started introducing the clutch. So that's the thing that puts the friction on that piece there, so it doesn't move as quick, so you don't get chain slap when you jump in the bike. So they're nice unit, then. Almost identical to the XT, just made out of heavier metal. So it's probably about a third heavier than the XT version, but absolutely identical other than that. So you take your choices. Personally, I am coming around to the idea that how well that's lasted, that, you know what, buy that, half the price of the XT, and just eat a few less donuts, and you get the same effect. If you can't buy lightness, eat less. There you go. That's not quite as good as don't buy upgrades, ride upgrades, but hey, I'm not Eddie Merckx, am I? There's probably lots of good reasons why I'm not Eddie Merckx. Right. Yes, that's going to get stripped down. We'll either do that as a separate one, or I'll do it as part of this. But we're rambling on a bit. We've nearly burnt through a fair bit of the recording already. We're just wandering around. Right. So what I'll probably do now is I'll stick it on time lapse for a bit while I clean up all this crap, because I'm going to be at it for a while. I've got all this. It all needs just cleaning, drying, putting over there in the right piles, because I've made a bit of a mess. All the brakes need stripping down and cleaning out, and seeing if anything needs doing to them. Possibly should have checked, but they were okay. I wasn't having any braking issues, other than that I was getting a bit of a long lever. But it turns out that's because the brake rotors were down, because I had just changed the pads, and I was still getting a fairly long lever. So I was wondering whether I got any, whether it actually got any air in the system. But now, obviously, I know what's up with it. Right. Anyway, right. I'll drop you in the thing, and we'll stick you on time lapse. Right, back in the room. What have we discovered? Right, brakes are fine. No issues there at all. Brake pads, probably okay. They were fairly new a few months ago. Ideally, because I've got new brake discs, I should put new brake pads on. But one set's, in fact, both sets are brand new. They were put on literally when the tyres went on. So they've probably done 2-3 rides, so I don't see as there's going to be an issue. They are ceramic, so they're not sintered, but they are ceramic. And the rotors say resin only, which I'll be honest, I'd never noticed before. And at least the last 3 sets of pads have been fully sintered. So that's probably why I've worn down my rotors. Now, there's a question here. Am I that bothered about, I think it's cost me best part of 50 quid to replace the rotors. So the question is, after 8 years, am I bothered that I've had to replace the rotors against having far better braking that you get from sintered pads than you do get from resin pads? Resin pads, if you don't know, don't last as long. They're made of an organic and resin material. They are what's called a softer braking, so you have to apply a little bit more force to get the same braking, but you don't get the aggressive braking, so it's a lot smoother. Whereas with the sintered pads, you get almost an instant grip, so it's actually quite easy to lock your wheels up. When you're going downhill, you only have to touch them or feather them, and you can bleed off a lot of speed very quickly. They are less prone to overheat as well. I did upgrade these to the cool style ones that have got a heat sink on them as well, because I do tend to go a bit nuts downhill, even though it's not a downhill bike. So it's kind of up to you. I'm in two minds as to whether to go and buy some resin pads, but you can't get. There aren't that many options for resin pads with the coolers on. Now, the reason I went down the coolers route in the first place was because I was overheating the brakes. So I was getting brake fade, and I was regularly burning out the resin pads. So that's the other thing. The resin pads only last about a third as long as your sintered pads. And you do tend to get, if you brake and it sounds like a bloody air horn, it's one of two things. You've either glazed your resin pads or you've got oil on them. And in most cases, actually, they're glazed. It's relatively easy to fix. You just get a flat piece of sandpaper, put it on something very flat like this, and you take the surface off to remove the glazing. But you probably take away about 3 or 4 months worth of brake wear as well at the same time. So every time you glaze them, you have to deglaze them, and then that reduces the lifespan of the brake pads. So I guess it's horses for courses. Now, I haven't really looked into what the difference is in ceramic brakes to sintered brakes, but I can see little flecks of copper in there. So I think they're a bit of they're a ploy. They're kind of a mid-range brand, the finest quality Chinesium that some UK companies having made to a specific specification. They've obviously spotted that there aren't that many heat-sinked options other than buying the Shimano ones or the really expensive ones. So they're kind of filling the market, and they were cheap. They're about £9 each from Amazon. So if I was to buy a set of heat-sinked Shimano brake pads, you're looking 35 quid. I mean, that's flipping motorbike and car pad price there. So it's kind of, well, do you know what? I might just wear out a set of rotors. I don't even know where the old rotors are. The old rotors are up there. They've not warped or anything like that. They've just gone under, and they are literally only just under. And I wouldn't have spotted it if I hadn't had the longer travel and went, just thought, do you know what? I'll stick a micrometer on. I did forget to order some frame clips, because I was going to try and go back to using frame clips instead of tie wraps, because the tie wraps get on my nerves. But so do they, because they keep falling off. I have got to order something now. I don't know if you spotted on the slow-mo. One of the dust washer, dust cap, bushing cover things for the axle. It has actually gone, which explains probably why we've got a knackered thing. So I'm going to try and get 2 of them. This one looks okay, but probably when I dig into it, I'll find out that's exactly the same. Now, I was very careful getting these off. I mean, if you saw the video, I've not barely malformed them at all. They would have flattened out nicely and probably been perfectly serviceable. Had the little fluffy bit around the edge there not given way completely. And that's where the shit and muck's got in. So that explains why we've got crapped out things. So I do have to go and buy some more stuff now, which means I'm not going to be able to finish putting it together today. I can get the bike together, can't get the wheels together, which is a shame, because I was going to do an experiment with the wheels. Quick look. So what we'll do now is I will just dive onto Amazon and see if there's some highest quality Chinesium, or get on Fleabay, whatever. I have got the schematics for this group set, so I can get the part number. So top tip for anybody everything Shimano has a part number. So if you can find the part number, Usually the small components have a Y number. There you go, YS. So if you can find that number from the schematics and then search on it, you will nearly always find an eBay or an Amazon person that is selling a proper branded Shimano replacement, a lot less than if you go searching for a myriad of people that claim to fit your thing. Just one word of caution now, if you are on Amazon or eBay, watch out for the fake chains and the fake cranksets. There are lots of them around. The packaging looks absolutely identical, but the only difference is where it says Shimano there, it doesn't say anything. It's just got a silver band, but everything else down there says it's identical. There's no difference at all. I nearly bought a chain the other day, and it wasn't until I went in and thought, hold on a second, it doesn't say Shimano at the top, because I was sat holding this at the time to get the part number off it, because I keep the old boxes when I'm ordering the next ones. And I thought, and then I read it, and they're quite crafty. They say Shimano compatible chain, or Shimano like chain, or replacement for Shimano with the number. So they've got the numbers, everything on the box, and it's absolutely identical, but it's made out of highest quality Chinesium. So just a warning with that one. And it's annoying that they're on Amazon as well, because Amazon's supposed to be clean and you're not supposed to have fakes on there, but they are quite obviously fakes. Right, where else are we going to go? Seat brackets cleaned up okay. These actually I was looking at these and thinking there's a little bit of play in them, and I'm like, should I strip them down? And then I remembered these didn't even come off this bike. These came off the previous bike. So these are a good 15 years old. XT lasted absolutely awesome. Way better than the bike pedals I've got, because the Ultigra pedals I'm on my third set of bearings on them, and they're loose ball as well. I dread to think what they are. I'd imagine they're loose ball as well. They tend to like their loose ball. Quite easy to service anyway. You just jam them in a vise. That unscrews out. It tells you which way and how much newtons to put on it. That pops out, and then the whole shaft comes out in one piece then, and then there's a bolt at the end that holds the bearing cup in place, which is, if it's like the other ones, the bearing cup is kind of like a wide band like that, with a race at one end and a race at the other for the balls to sit in, and then there's a cone and a cone at the other end. So the bearing surface is actually in the middle there, and they do tend to get a bit sloppy after a while. So we'll sort that out. I've got to find a new clip or use tie wraps for the cadence sensor off the pedal, because that's knackered. What else have we got that we noticed? Bottom brackets fine. I did check them again. The bearings are moving nicely. You know, and there's a few people are going to probably go, oh, you shouldn't have been washing them. They're sealed bearings, and I wasn't blasting them out. I was just clearing the muck out so it doesn't damage the seal. And I've got loads of these bearings as well, so even if the bearings get knackered, I can just pop them out and replace them. I invested in those. I did notice that these are knackered. The plastic started to degrade. I suspect I've done some of that, whacking them out with a screwdriver as well. So I'm just going to have that one looks okay. It's only that one that's got the issue. They are a bit crappy as well, so I'm just going to have a look, see if I've got some of them, because I did think I had bought some. Welcome to the spares cupboard. I'm going to keep the stock. Yeah, I have. There you go. I know I've got one somewhere. Don't chuck anything out, kids. Probably have to wrap it around twice. If it's too big, I'll just have to... it shouldn't be, because I think that's for the road bike, and I've got about 2 or 3 sets of these, so I should have loads of spares of them. Right, let's have a look what we've got in here. Aha! See you there for a minute. Have a vice. Let's see if I find out they're not the same. No, I think they're road bike ones. Bugger. Yeah, they're off a road bike. I think if I put these in, they would. Oh, they're off the older big. I know what they're off. They're off the bigger ones. Bugger. I think I bought a few sets of them as well. No, that's off an SRAM. That's a wider gauge. Yeah, they're off that style. So I could probably get away with using it. It's only the back bit that clips it in, and the thing will keep it in. They just wear a bit mucky around the edge. Yeah, they're they're off that. I mean, there's nothing to stop me putting this in. This has actually got a ceramic bearing in it. So there's no reason why I couldn't put that in, to be honest. I'll have a think about that. I'll put it there so I can make my mind up. Yeah, I put a set of ceramic bearings in this, and they feel fine. There's no graunchiness going off there. And like I said, I've got spare bearings anyway for these. I'm not sure about them actually. I might not have them for them because that's the new style. So what I do is every time I have to repair a set of bearings, so that's a Vision 600 rear thing. These are how much they cost each. So buy them in bulk. That's the bottom bracket bearing, so that fits in there. It won't fit in that one, but it fits in a standard large shell bottom bracket case. What have we got here? Front bearings. I think that's off a Planet X and a Fulcrum. Then we've got a bag of bearings here. Rear Vision bearings. What else have we got? Oh, and that's one of that's the cartridge that holds the pedal axle on a Ultigra 8600. That's a bit irritating that I haven't got them. No, I'm chucking them all up. A little bit smaller, and that's a bit weird. I wonder if they do fit them then. Actually, they're not that bad. They do actually fit. They're quite a nice seal because they've got a lip on there. They've got a step on there, so that sits on there. So what it's doing is it's just very gently rubbing on the outer edge of that, but it'll wear that down quite quickly. So there is an option there. I can chuck them on if I want. Just not sure about where they. Yeah, I think they. So they probably sit about the same proudness, to be honest. So, right, we'll leave a set of them there, and we'll make a decision on whether we go with them or them. Right, I suspect I'm going to have to go eBaying for stuff like that again. What's that? I could do with replacing the gear cables. They are a bit crusty and they are a little bit bent. So if I've got to put an order in, I might, because it looks like I'm not going to get this finished today, I might go and order a set of, sorry, I'm talking to the cupboard again, I might go and order a set of them too. I haven't got any more spares in the brake cable stuff. I ought to just buy a roll of flipping Jaguar brake outer, because it ends up getting used all the time. It's probably cheaper than buying the kits, because they're costing a fortune now and they're really hard to get hold of, the decent ones. Right, I'm just going to shut this down a minute while I go and sort out the Amazon order. Right, been upstairs playing. Coffee. Stay to that mug. Right, ordered some cables. Could not get Jaguars anywhere to reasonable price. £35 just for great brake gear shifters. There were some 15 quid ones, but I'll be honest, I wasn't 100% sure they weren't fakes. So it's not worth it. It's not worth shelling out 15 quid for something that's effectively only the same as something that you could have bought for a fiver and got Clark's ones, which is nothing wrong with Clark's ones, but I use Jaguar because they last a long time. I actually managed to drop on some genuine Shimano XT ones for 20 quid, front and back. Can't grumble at that. So they're actually better than the ones that are on it, because God knows what were fitted. They've been on since they were new. They're not Jaguar, they're not Shimano, so it looks like they were just whatever they pulled out the parts bin when they built it. I've ordered 40 of these clips. They should come tomorrow. I have managed to get the seals. I wasn't sure which one of the seals it is that's bust, because they are different. Yeah, one's an inner and one's an outer. I wasn't sure, so I've got both of them anyway. They were £2. Well, £2.99 each. And it's cost me more for flipping postage than it's cost for the 2 seals. Got them from the same shop. I was surprised there weren't that many options. I was really struggling. eBay had not got anything. Amazon had got them listed, but they were out of stock. So it's kind of, there's only really one place that was listing them. They were fairly cheap, but they weren't doing free delivery. Tried getting the cables from them, but they didn't have anything I liked the look of in the cables. And they were quite dear as well for the rest of their stuff, so I didn't order anything else from that one. I did have a look for these as well, and the same for these, as you cannot get them. They've got loads in this size, but hardly any in that size. So there is actually a part number on there. Do not disassemble. No shit, Sherlock. So anyway, I will. I don't know. I'm in 2 minds whether to stick that back on. That's a Shimano Saint bottom bracket that was on originally, and the bearings did die a horrible death. They're a bit weird, the Saints. They're kind of, they're not the XTRs, but they did some really light, good quality stuff, but they kind of not with the rest of they're not with the XTs and everything. So I never really understood what the Saints were all about, but that bottom bracket lasted for absolutely ages, to say it was just normal bearings. So like I said, I have replaced the bearings in that one, and I think it has got ceramics in. It's got the ceramic bearings that are out of that one, because I changed the bearings thinking the bearings were bad and they weren't. So the ceramic bearings are now in there. So I might stick that on. I can't remember whether the new ones don't fit that. So they don't fit that, but they don't fit that. I think they do fit this. I think I came to the conclusion they do fit that. It's just that they rub a little bit, but I think that will wear off. So we'll probably go with that for the time being. I'll just swap one of them out because there's only one of them that's chewed up. So what I'll do is I'll probably stick that on the drive side shell, and then we'll keep that for another day. Chuck that in the parts bucket, and then we can see what we go. So I can't do a full assemble today. I am missing the bits for the wheels, so I can get the frame put back together, but I haven't got the cables either. So the cables are coming tomorrow or the day after, if I'm lucky. So I can start putting it back together. What do you think? Should we bother? I kind of wanted to do it in one video if I was going to do it in one hit and just put the whole lot back together. I didn't want to be putting it back together. So I think what I'll do is I'll carry on with the cleanup for this video. We'll strip that out, and then we'll have one whole video for putting it all back together. Get the wheels on, and then I'm going to take the wheels off and have an experiment with the wheels. But I'd need to get the bike running because I'm like I said, I'm riding to the lake every day now to swim. And it would be nice to go on the mountain bike because the roads are just a nightmare in the morning. Going's brilliant. There's nothing at all. Coming back is every flipping coffee-fueled idiot driving around, ramming you off the road. I've had about 3 near misses just in 2 runs. So, and they're knocking down one of the bridges at the moment. So everybody's just going the one way. And there's a particular hill that I do not like. Anyway, right, so still going to clean the frame, and we're still going to service that. So what I'll do is I'll clean the frame. I'll not video that. You don't want to watch me cleaning the frame. And then I'll bring you back, and we'll tear into that and have a look at that quickly. I suspect we're just going to pull it to pieces, just check there's nothing horrible going on inside. And then if it's all right, I'll just grease it up, put it back together. If it's all horrid, I'll have to buy a service kit. But the service kits are 50 quid for that. And I'll be honest, it's robbery because you just get that nut and a handful of rubber seals for 50 quid. They really are taking the piss. The dust wiper in that looks okay anyway. There is some play in the shaft, and I have got a set of, so where they've gone, they're around somewhere. I thought they were in that box, but they might not be. I might have chucked them on here. I have got a set of copper bushings for it. But I'll be very lucky if they're the right size, because they let's there they are. Found them. So these are size 6. And there's 6 sizes. Well, actually, I think there's 7. It goes from 0 to 6, and these are size 6. And you count the ridges on the bushings. So when they're made, because there's obviously tolerances in the manufacturing, they put in the bushing that makes it the right tolerance, and then when you wear the sacrificial bushings down, you replace them with the same size ones for this thing. So I've got a 1 in 7 chance of these being the right ones. Obviously, I didn't realise that at the time when I bought them, so I could stick them back on eBay if they're not the right size and just order the right ones, because I have found another site that you can order the size you want. They were a little bit more expensive. I think I only paid about £10 for them. I've had to do them recently on an X brand one as well, and they didn't have a sizing, and it was a bit snatchy. So that's probably the difference in the quality. Anyway, right, let's clean the frame. There we go. I'm not sure if I was recording that last bit. Just had to take the lens off. We've got a bit of condensation in it again. Looks all right. There's a few war wounds and scratches, but like I said, she was bought to be ridden, and when it's dead, it's dead. And we'll move on and get another one. Probably get a titanium. It's these. I keep saying it. This is by far the best bike that Planet X ever made. It looks good. It rides fantastic. It's just a shame it's a 26 and nobody wants 26s anymore. Sure, they could have done a 27 now, because there's almost enough room to fit a 27 wheel in the back of there, to be honest. The geometry of the frame is just fantastic. It's the 451 frame, sorry, 456 frame. There you go. Right, let's crack on and tear into the dropper next. Then I'll just stick you in the stand and bring you back. Right then, so we'll call that a day. I'll edit it up somehow. What I suspect we'll do is I'll put the bike on as a separate video. The strip down, the clean up. As you can see, we've got all the bits here now, except for the bits we're missing. So they're on order. Cables. Where's my chronometer gone? Let's pack this away. You can actually see me pack stuff away for once. In the woodwork measuring drawer. So what we're waiting for, we are waiting for, pack some tools away. We are waiting for, I'll order a service kit for that. We've got the dust seals for the bike wheels, which will need reassembling. What else have we got on order now? Brake cables, they're on order, and the frame clips. The frame's clean. Like I said, what I'll probably do is do this as a separate video, the strip down of this, and the putting it back together. And we're going to have to bleed it as well now, which is a right old faff. But I've got the bleeding kit and I've got some fluid left, so I'm going to order any more fluid. And then we will have everything lined up on here, waiting to go back on the bike. New cables will be here by then. And then we'll see how we go. If the cables come tomorrow, no, because I've got to do the wheels anyway. So we'll wait for the dust seals on the wheels, and then we can crack on. I haven't actually cleaned the forks yet either, so we're still gonna clean them, and I've got to make a new one of them. I knocked the forks over the other day and I broke that, but you can make them using a 2 litre pop bottle. So I'll probably video that as well as part of the reassemble, because the reassemble is going to be actually fairly quick. Everything goes on. The only tricky bit is we're going to have to cut the cables for the brake cables. Now it could do with a T-cut all over the frame. You can see it's just dull all over, and there's the bit where I fixed it there. You can see it's not the best bit, but it looks, when you sat up here, it looks better than how it did look originally. And I think if we get the T-cut on, actually that won't look too bad. Actually, stop saying bloody actually. actually. Right, let's get these in here, actually. Right, as always, like and subscribe. I probably should have cut that bit because I'm going to have to split this now and do all the bits. So anyway, like, subscribe, trying to build the site up a bit. I'm years off it being monetized. I'm deliberately not trying to commercialize it at the moment. I'm not in any position to run a commercial YouTube channel. This is just for fun, but it would be nice to get the viewers up, you know, get some feedback as well. Don't forget, if you've got any engine, we are into that time of the year. So if you've suddenly discovered and you're in the South Yorkshire region and you're watching this and you've got some mowers or generators or strimmers that are at the back of your shed that don't work and haven't worked for ages, and you're like, I can't be arsed, ping me. I'll have a look at them or donate them, and we'll take them to pieces and see why they don't work. Maybe see if we can get them working again. And if I can, anything I can sell supports buying all the stuff that we use for this. So all this, I do all the bike repairs for free for people. I don't charge anybody for all the liquids and oils and things I use. Generally, if it's a fork rebuild, I will charge them a little bit for the oil because the oil's quite expensive, and I don't keep a massive stock in it. They only come in little bottles, so you only get a couple of fork fills out of a fork set. But all these tools and things, they all cost money to buy and have in there. But as a result, people get the bikes done for very cheap. They only pay for the parts, and all the labour's for free. But like I said, I've got to replace and fix all this stuff and keep it running. That needs emptying. So I mean, just a new container of that's like 30-40 quid. That cleaning solution, and that's well overdue emptying. So that's how much you have to put in to fill that, and the rest goes in as water. So you get 4 fills out of that. So it's a tenner for that alone. I think that's where I empty it into in that one. So it all adds up. So what I'm trying to say is, look, just give the site a bit of support. I'm rambling now. My coffee's gone cold as well. Right. Anyway, enough of that. Lockdown workshop. Jobs are good, and as usual. Bye. Are we back? Right. We're doing an evening show. Thursday evening. Should be out doing some training, but we need to get this bike put back together. At last, all the parts have arrived. So this is Tango part 3, part 4. Could even be part 5, because I think we're splitting out the rebuild of this into a separate one. It's got a nice big chew in that. Didn't you see that the other day? So this is going back together, and the strip down and the rebuild of the reverb will be done as a separate video, because if we remember, the glide, the top Teflon guide had absolutely disintegrated. So we've managed to actually get hold of one of these. I dropped on Lucky. Somebody was selling one on a private sale on bids, and I managed to bag it for 25 quid. So that's not bad, because that's 50 quid all day long, that, and that's got the missing part I need already in there, and that's the one for the bottom. So that I was a bit concerned about that. So it changes the rubbers on that. It's a 200-hour service kit. It's not the 400-hour service kit, so it's the 1 year 200-hour service kit. Part numbers are on somewhere all over the place. There you go. That's what you're after. And you can't get them for love nor money at the moment. Rockshox suppliers in the UK seem to be really rubbish, and their resellers just do not stock. Bought them, they're not for this build, but we have run out. Had some emergency cable works to do, and I dropped on these the other days. These are actually slightly nice. These are proper genuine Shimano glide ones. So the cable's actually been rolled smooth. They're really nice compared to the Clark's ones, but obviously they're a bit more expensive because the Clark's ones are £3. These are £7.50. But they'll work with the Ultegras, and the Ultegras are really finicky. Ultegra, whatever. Anyway, what else have we got on here that's come? The seals for the axle that we discovered last time were actually perished and bust out on one of them. The Shimano Setscom, I was going to buy Jaguar, but again, you can't get Jaguar for love nor money at a reasonable price. It was about 40 quid for a mountain bike set. And I think I managed to bag that off Amazon for about 20 quid. And it's the genuine ship, and you can see it's got the smooth stainless steel smooth cables in that. So those are the cables that are in there. The reason I swapped this out was because the cables were quite old and the outers were a bit knackered. They got kinks in them and it wasn't flowing smooth. So it is a direct like-for-like replacement on what's on. I thought Planet X normally put Jaguars on, but these are the original Shimano ones. They've lasted okay. I'd prefer Jaguar. I think that's it. I did bag myself a little gadge, which I've put down and I can't find. I've been after one of these for a while. So this sits on, what can I show you? You take the wheel off your bike, that bolt's on there, you run the chain around that and it just helps you clean it without having to have the wheel on. It's also good for transporting the flipping things as well. So I think we can start assembly. So what we will do, I've still got to do something with them. I'm still going to clean them and make another thing, but there's nothing wrong with them. I've checked them out, so they just need a clean down. So I might do that off camera. We'll rebuild the wheels last. Let's get the frame chucked in there and let's start chucking some bits on it. Frames here. Remember, we cleaned it up last time. We've done the repairs. I think that was in number 2. It's not that bad. You just still need T-cutting. There's a little bit of overpaint there that will rub off with a bit of T-cut. The other bit's come up really nice. That was had a great big chunk missing out of it, and that's come up really nice. The lizard skin chain guards in the house, it's been through the washing machine. That's like new. I haven't decided whether I'm going to chuck it back on again yet, but all in all, she'll live to fight at least another couple of years, and then I expect it'll be a titanium frame after that. Right, off we go. Let's stick in the thing and carry on. Aha, now we've got a red light. Red lights are working again. Right, I can see that we're recording. First things first then, let's stick in the bottom bracket. Get the forks out of the way. Stick that over there. Wheels out of the way. I don't know what bag's doing there. Oh, dogs are going nuts. Right. So, not a big fan of red grease, but there is a seal on here.